Hey there, and welcome to a new episode of the Dietitian Success Podcast, the marketing, business, and entrepreneurship podcast specifically designed for registered dietitians. I'm Krista Kolajesic. I'm your host, and I'm the founder of Dietitian Success Center. Every week I show up and we talk through 3 business topics, entrepreneurship topics that have either come up in the DSC entrepreneurship membership, conversations I've had one-on-one with dietitians, in business coaching sessions, things that I just see floating around in terms of challenges or obstacles that dietitians are encountering. But I always like to start off first with a little personal update. So I'm going to share a couple books that I'm reading right now, a couple business books. In terms of the content we're going to talk about today, we are going to start off by talking a little bit about signature programs and what does or does not qualify as a signature program. And what if you only have one-on-one sessions to offer? Is that still a signature program? So we'll talk through that. We're going to talk about how to create a physical product, whether that be merch, whether that be a print book, a workbook, or an actual book, sweatshirts, stickers, anything like that. How do you actually make a physical product? We've done it in many different ways. And spoiler alert, it's way easier than you think. So great branding opportunity to offer merch. And you can do it for $0, zero upfront dollars. And then I also want to talk about the cost of indecision. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to do if you've been sitting on something for a while, whether it's an idea, whether it's an offer, whether it is an email, whether it's a blog, whether it's anything that you've sat on and you haven't put out there into the world yet. And we're going to talk about why that's happening and what that's potentially costing you, and how do we overcome this very, very common mindset block and mindset challenge for so many dietitian entrepreneurs, because I see this all the time. And so how do we actually overcome that? We'll talk through that. And if you're watching the video, I apologize for my nails. I mean, they're wild right now. I got half shellac on half my nails. But you know what? When you're a working mom, sometimes it's hard to get appointments in the calendar for just you. So I'm still really trying to carve out the time to go and get and to decide whether I want my shellac to just come off, whether I just don't even want to deal with this anymore. Because that's the thing about getting shellac or getting your nails done is you are locked in, right? Because you kind of have to go back in order to get it taken off, or you go back in, you're well, I might as well just get it redone again. I don't want to go back in to get it taken off. That's the mental struggle. That's where I'm sitting right now too, is I'm do I just get these taken off? But I also like to have my nails done. So I don't know. It's a very woe is me problem, but all that to say, I'm finding it hard to fit solo appointments in my calendar every week. So sometimes my nails are looking a little crazy. Okay, a couple business books that I just bought. If you're watching the video, I'm showing these in the video. But if you're not, don't worry. I will tell you what they are. So I have been sort of out of the business book game for a little while, just because I haven't created the time in my calendar. It hasn't been something I've prioritized. Notice how I say created the time, because I think that that's a really important distinction between saying that and saying I don't have time. No, I just haven't prioritized this. I could make time if I wanted to. There's things that I do every day that I wouldn't necessarily have to do, but they take priority. I've prioritized them over reading, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Doing Wordle. I'm back on the Wordle train. I just started doing Wordle again. But anyways, all that to say, I could stop doing that and I could read instead, right? I'm choosing how I'm spending my time. I am in control of my calendar. And so right now, I've been out of the business book game for a while because it's been less of a priority for me, but I'm kind of back in the business book game now because I've been waking up, I've been setting my alarm. Now that my kids are consistent, have more consistency with sleeping, and particularly the younger one, the baby. Now that we're at a point where there's more consistency with a defined bedtime, I have more time in the evenings for myself. And I am setting my alarm a little bit earlier in the morning so that I can have time by myself before they wake up, which is really nice to just have a coffee on the couch. And I like to pick up a business book and read for 5 to 10 minutes. I love doing that. I did that for a really long time pre-kids, and I'm so happy to be back doing that again because I've learned so much from business books. And I typically tend to be an e-reader girl, but when it comes to business books, I purchase the physical copy because I just like to have, and put them on my desk behind me because I think it looks cute. So once I'm done reading them, so they're not just decor. Okay, so the first book that I bought is a new one, The Freedom-Based Business Method by Natalie Ellis. Now, Natalie Ellis is the founder of a company called Boss Babe, which I honestly haven't really engaged much with their material or courses. It's kind of like a coaching program for people, for women. And I've never purchased anything from her, but I've listened to her podcast before and I like what she has to say. And so I purchased this book. So far, I'm feeling like it's a little bit more of an entry-level entrepreneur book. So if you are newer to the entrepreneur space, I think this would be a great book for you. I'm not getting a ton of value out of it, but I still like it. There's some good messages there. So I'm excited to keep chipping away at that. This one I have not cracked open yet, but The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, The 33 Laws of Business and Life. Now, this one's been around for a while. I've just never read it. And I like Stephen Bartlett. He is the founder of, he runs the podcast, which is a huge podcast, The Diary of a CEO, which I have gotten a lot of value out of in the past. Sometimes I really don't like his episodes. He has really random quote unquote guest experts on, particularly in the area of health and nutrition. So I find that quite annoying because I do feel like there's a lot of odd information that's being shared there. But when he talks about entrepreneurship or when he has an entrepreneur guest on, I tend to get a lot of value out of that. So anyways, I'm interested to learn more. So that'll be good. Okay, those are two books that I am chipping away at right now. Let's get right into the content because these are three meaty topics today. Okay, the first one around signature programs. So I'll present the question first and then I'll dive in. So here's the scenario of the question. I keep hearing that I need a course or a group component to scale, but honestly, I love working one-on-one. Can I still call what I do a signature program, even if it's just one-on-one sessions? And can I actually market it as one? So I think the concept of a signature program is really misunderstood. There really is no definition of a signature program. A signature program is whatever you want it to be. The word signature just essentially means that you have a defined, repeatable package offer. That's it. And now a signature program or a signature process typically has, some consistent components. You have a clear start and an end point. You have a pretty clear named outcome. You have a structured process that you take clients through. And generally, you have a very specific client avatar that you work with that this program is really designed for. Now, your avatar can be based around a specific nutrition-related condition. So let's say PCOS, and you have a PCOS signature program. That's really one of the biggest factors when it comes to a signature program is you need to have a fairly specific client avatar because they have to go through there needs to be enough consistencies that your process or your program applies to the most number of people in that group. So that's really what having a signature program is all about. It doesn't really matter what format you offer that in or what you include within that signature program. It can be simply one-on-one sessions bundled together for a specific period of time, but it could also include some additional components like a course, like a group, it could even just be a single pre-recorded video. It could be a private podcast feed. It could be messaging support with you. It could be, there's so many different things you could include in a signature program, but it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can just be a series of one-on-one sessions, and that is totally, totally fine. You kind of think about a signature program almost like a recipe, where it's your recipe is your program structure. It's generally the same every single time, with a little bit of variation perhaps, just depending on the day or depending on the specific client. But that's really what it's all about, is that program structure. You can make the same recipe in different kitchens. Different kitchens would be the delivery. How is it actually delivered? But the program, the process is really what remains consistent there. And so that's really the biggest factor. And what I typically like to recommend to dietitians is you don't have to you can make, if you're offering one-on-one sessions right now, you could turn that into a program and not have to add anything else on top of that if you don't want to do any of that extra work. Because what I don't like to see is when, dietitians are working with people one-on-one and they're like, I want to work with people for a longer duration. I think people would get better results. I do find that I have this process that I tend to go through with most of my clients, but I just don't have the time to create a course. It's like, just don't create a course, or, have this program and then slowly start to incorporate a course component. And when that might make sense for you and when you might feel like that is a thing that you want to do is when you're finding that you are teaching the same things over and over again. Like if there's messaging that you're just talking, like it's over and over and over and over again. Let's say you teach like whatever macros, like how to calculate your macros. That process or that lesson could be a video module, and you could simply just record something. You could make it unlisted on YouTube, like upload it to YouTube, make it unlisted so people can't find it, and just like direct your clients to that. And that could be your starter course component. Now, of course, one of the benefits to having additional things in a signature program is that typically, because you're adding more value, you can potentially charge more for that thing, right? If you have this, if you have one-on-one sessions plus this amazingly robust course community, et cetera, you could charge more for that. And even if people are getting the one-on-one sessions covered by insurance, they would just be paying out of pocket for whatever else is included in that program. So you can totally think bigger and think about what would give people the most value here in order to bring them from point A to point B. But overall, it doesn't have to be that way. It can just start as a bundle of one-on-one sessions for a specific duration of time. That's totally fine. And so why this is different than just selling hourly sessions, this is really one of those levers you can pull to make one-on-one work more scalable, essentially. So when somebody says that one-on-one work is not scalable, that's not necessarily true. Unpackaged one-on-one work is sort of not that scalable unless you're going to bring in a contractor and you're going to actually get more dietitians on your team to be able to work with people instead of it just being you. But, what's cool about a program is it becomes more predictable. It becomes, if you have, X number of clients that you can expect in your signature program and it runs over 3 months and you can expect that they will be paying month 1, month 2, month 3 in 3 installments, then suddenly that revenue stacking becomes a lot more consistent. And you know how many people you can fit into your calendar for your signature program. You know how many people can be in it every single month, which is, really, really interesting. So all that to say, we don't have to overcomplicate it. You can create a signature program from just one-on-one pieces. You can also just include, any of the other cool stuff that perhaps you're already doing and you don't actually market or you don't actually talk about. Whether it's messaging support, you have a group, a lot of these things you can just do within your EMR platform. Practice Better offers a lot of these different components that you can add to your signature program. The other thing too is that when you're positioning a signature program, you want to make sure it actually has a name so that it reads more like a premium offer and it's very specifically catered towards that ideal client avatar. So give it a real name, not just one-on-one nutrition coaching, or not just 3-session package. Think of something creative like the IBS relief program or confident eating for athletes. Lead with something that is very descriptive and it tells somebody this is the program that was designed for you. And that can be really compelling too for people because it's this was created for me. Clearly, this person has worked with people like me before. They've led them through this program, and that's really interesting. And then when it comes to your marketing copy and how you're actually talking about a signature program, you always want to lead with the outcomes, not the format. So people don't buy the features, they buy the benefits. And I think that that's a really important lesson for all dietitians to remember is you're not selling. Nobody cares if your program is 12 weeks. Actually, they don't care. They care about what the island B looks like, where they are now and where they can expect to be on the other side. It is your job to have designed a program that gives them the best chance of getting to their island B. They don't care, right? Like they really don't care. And so what you tell them is you using your expertise and your professional judgment to say, this is probably how long you need in order to get from A to B. Like that is part of this process and part of what it is for you to figure out. Now, the other way that this becomes scalable is when you can add components to it. And another benefit to having additional components to a signature program is like, there's a lot of value that dietitians can provide that's not just one-on-one work. And it can be, whether it's workbooks, whether it's a resource library, whether it's a shared Google Drive folder with a bunch of handouts, whether it is, again, those video modules, whether it's private podcast feed. Like these are all things you could charge additionally for that will make you more revenue, generate more revenue in your business that do not require you to exchange your time for money. But these things take time to build. And so that's okay. They can take time to build. You can still offer a signature program. That's kind of your version 1 of X number of iterations. Okay, so that is really what I have to say about signature programs. You can start very basic here. You can add on to it. You can build it. You can continue to add value as time goes on. Now, I may have some people listen to that and be like, yeah, but you've told me, or I've just added things for free within I have a bundle of one-on-one services. And then, I just include messaging support within that. Yeah, that can also work too. There's different strategy here. And that's really something that we work through in one-on-one. That like sometimes the strategy, if you have 2 different package offerings, is to make package 2 a no-brainer by offering some of those leveraged items included within the price of the package. But if you just have one signature program, then you may want to charge more for those things. And it really just depends on what you're charging more for. And does that actually warrant a separate price point that people have to pay out of pocket for, or not? Does it make sense to just include it within the bundle? So that's something that I work through with dietitians during one-on-one sessions. Question 2 is all about physical products. So how do you actually create a physical product? So the question is, I've thought about creating a physical product for my audience, but I have no idea where to start. How do you go from an idea to something tangible that you can actually put in someone's hands without spending a whole bunch of money on inventory? Okay, so this is actually way easier to do than people think that it is. So I'll talk through how we've done it in the past. So we have offered DSC merch. So we've actually offered like hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts with DSC logos on them. We've offered things like little notebooks with the DSC logo on them, coffee mugs. We've also done things like print materials, so like stickers, cards. In fact, for the summit, we're actually sending out print cards. That's like a fun little invitation to the summit. When you sign up, we're actually mailing those to people, and we got them professionally printed. Envelopes with our branding on them. What else have we done? So we've done all of those things. And then we've also gone down the avenue of actually creating like print spiral bound workbooks to accompany our content. So for example, our counseling and coaching program, it used to be that when it was offered as a standalone course, now it's included as a part of the DSC membership. But when it was a standalone course, every person who purchased actually got a copy they got mailed a like spiral bound workbook to accompany the material. And the reason why we did that was because we wanted people to actually have like a physical version of some of the information that we teach, like the different coaching prompts or questions to ask or goals to set. Like we wanted to actually include a physical version so somebody could have it on their desk, even when they're working with a client, to be able to refer to. So it's sort of like a physical reference guide. And then for the actual Dietitian Success Summit, we are creating a full 365-day planner, the Dietitian Planner. It's the first ever Dietitian Planner, that we've created or that I've ever seen. So it is a full planner that includes everything, like a weekly view, a monthly view, a daily view, for you to really map out your days and map out your months and map out your years. And we love the idea of having like a physical copy of that. And so we're going to be printing those. They're going to be spiral bound and actually provided to all of the attendees as part of their ticket purchase. And so we've done merch in many different ways. And What's the benefit there? Well, it can be a revenue stream in your business, first of all. It can be a revenue stream. It can be such a cool brand builder as well. And what I mean by that is like if you have your clients carrying around grocery totes with your logo on them, like that's a pretty cool branding opportunity and marketing opportunity. Or with like a fun little nutrition related saying on a t-shirt or on a crew neck. Again, that can just be a really cool way to extend your brand beyond just the work that you're doing with people one-on-one. And so why is it actually a lot easier and less expensive than you think? So I'll talk through the different options here to you. So there is a way to be able to create merch without having to take on any inventory or purchase inventory in advance. And in fact, that's not really the best way to do it because if you're creating like a physical product, you actually have no idea how many you're going to sell, how many sizes you're going to sell. Like that's a nightmare to try and actually hold inventory for all of the different things that you could potentially need in all of the different scenarios without even knowing if you're going to sell anything. So what you actually do, and this is how we did it, is we would create the design in Canva. So just use Canva as you normally would, create your logo, your design, whatever. And then you can actually use a platform called Printify. Now, there are different versions of this. We used Printify in the past. And Printify is essentially a drop shipping company for branded merch. So what you do is you create a profile in Printify. You upload your design to any number of products that they carry. So they carry like hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts, like any sort of just like blank canvas merch item. And you actually upload your design to that merch item. So you like choose the merch item, you upload your design, you choose the colors, you do all of those things. And then you actually create a storefront, a virtual or a digital storefront on Etsy or through Shopify. And you can link it with your Printify so that when somebody purchases the item on Etsy, it will just coordinate and communicate with Printify, and Printify will take care of printing, creating that physical item, and mailing it to that person. So you don't actually touch that merch. You don't even see it unless you order samples that you want, which you should obviously do because you want to make sure it's good. But there's no you are not the middleman there. Like it just simply goes from your storefront, which could be Etsy or Shopify, to Printify. That is the connection there. So it's actually so easy. Like technically you can start a merch shop for free. Like you just have to create those items and upload them select them, upload them to Printify/Etsy, and then somebody purchases, and then you just attach your credit card to Printify and it will just charge you for that item. And now obviously on your storefront, so Etsy, you're going to charge you're going to want to make sure you make a margin on that. So if Printify charges you maybe $10 for a t-shirt, you might sell that on Etsy for $20. And so you just made $10 there of profit. So that's how that works. That's how the business model works. Now, if you're going to be doing something like a print workbook, there's a few different ways to do this as well. So for the counseling and coaching workbook that I talked about before, what we actually did, again, instead of ordering inventory, is we actually created and designed them in Canva. And then we actually used the Canva print shop. So Canva has its own printing and mailing feature within the platform. So you can actually create something and you can actually get it printed and sent to someone, again, without you having to have even touched it or seen it. That is a really cool feature of the platform, but it tends to be a little bit more expensive. And again, you just charge somebody a premium on top of what it costs you to print it and mail it in Canva so that you're making a profit off of that. So that is a really great way to be able to create like one-off workbooks. Now, the third avenue is if you are bulk printing something. So like for the summit, for example, we are bulk printing 80 plus of these physical copy workbooks. And so it doesn't make sense. Like we're going to bring those to the summit and actually distribute them to people so we don't have to go through the process of mailing them. So it doesn't make sense for us to use Canva. for the printing feature. So what we're doing instead is we're designing it all in Canva, but then we're actually going to get it printed by a third-party printer. So we're shopping around right now for printers who can actually like print and spiral bind each of these books for us. And this is going to be more cost effective as well than getting it done on Canva. Another really great avenue is Vistaprint. We use Vistaprint all the time. It's a fabulous platform, like works super well if you want to even just get like I have a mouse pad with our logo on it. If you're watching the video, I'm showing you. So I have a mouse pad with the DSC logo on it. I have a coffee mug with the DSC logo on it. You can, if you just want to order like one-off or even bulk like stickers, for example, if you want to order a bunch of stickers with your logo on them, you should probably print it. Vistaprint is going to be your best bet there. Okay. That was physical products. It's such a fun thing. So fun to be able to offer physical products. Yeah, I love it. I think it can just be like such a cool way to see your brand come to life. If you are a dietitian who has a physical office space, so you're actually like renting out an office space, get like, and you have clients seeing you in person, like get your brand, your logo printed on some stuff and have it in your office, like a coffee mug, like a mouse pad. It just looks so professional, and it just shows that you take your brand and your business seriously, which I think is really cool. Okay, number 3, the fear or I don't even know if I want to call it a fear. I guess the indecision tax. Let's call it that. What happens when we sit on something? What is that costing us, and why do we do that, and how do we overcome that? So here's the scenario or the question. Have you ever actually finished something in your business and then just not launched it? So the thing is done, it's ready, and you still can't seem to pull the trigger. So let's talk through why this happens. So what is going on underneath the surface, and how do we actually overcome this? Because I see this a lot. If you're sitting there and you're like, that's me. This is so common, and it's definitely something that we want to work through, because the longer we sit on something, the more it is costing us, because it's costing us the mental load of having it sit in our brain and wondering if it's going to work or not work, versus just having an answer around whether it's going to work or not work. It's costing us potential revenue that we could be generating right now from this potential thing, whether it's a blog post, social content, a product, an offer. It's actually costing us potential revenue. Now, I had a really great conversation with a dietitian a few days ago. She sent me a voice note on Instagram, and she was like, because she had attended one of our office hour sessions for the entrepreneurship membership. And I typically run those. They run every second week, and it's basically like a group coaching session. And she was like, one of the things I really appreciate that you do is you give people very specific answers. And she's like, it's interesting because like, I think sometimes, though of course there's always a scenario for an it depends answer. She's like, I appreciate that a lot of times you'll just tell, like she had a question about her tech stack, and whether she should move to a new platform or stick with what she's currently using. And I just said to her, no, stick with what you're currently using. Like, do not go down the road of a new tech stack. And here's why. So obviously, in order to answer those questions confidently, I pull from my own experience and what I've learned from working with hundreds of dietitians. But I think the other reason why I do that so intentionally is to set an example of what it looks like to just make a decision and move forward and not overthink things, and putting something out there into the world to be the thing that gives you the answer on whether that was the quote unquote right decision or wrong decision. The idea of right decision and wrong decision in business is kind of a myth, because there are just decisions to be made, and you decide and then you decide again based on the information that you learned from making that first decision, right? Like, this is how it goes. We make an educated decision, and then we pivot and we shift if we need to. And we let our audience, we let our customers, potential customers, we let the landscape tell us, is this something that's resonating or is it not resonating? And so by sitting on something, we are preventing ourselves from being able to move forward and find and uncover those answers. Now, what is actually going on here? What's the real underlying challenge that's going on here? And I think that this is probably the case 90% of the time. And I know that this has been the case for me whenever I have sat on something, is that there's actually probably an underlying belief that you have that this is not going to work, and you are trying to save yourself from the pain of that. So, you have this thought process of like, what's the point? I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to be disappointed and it's not going to work. And you have this sort of like core belief or a lack of belief that what you create can actually be successful. And so that's really the thing that needs to be addressed there is, why don't you believe that this is going to work? Because in order for something to be successful, like, you have to sell yourself on it. That's one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever gotten and I got it from a sales program that I took, was like, you need to sell yourself on what you're offering first. Because if you're not sold on what you're offering and you don't really believe in what you're doing and the value of what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to sell it to other people, like really hard to sell it to other people. And so if you're sitting there being like, yeah, but Krista, I don't really have that belief in what I'm doing or what I'm offering, there's a few things you can actually do to start to believe in yourself and what you're doing and what you offer. So a couple of recommendations that I would provide you is to actually go through your material or your program. So if you are offering a digital product, I want you to actually walk through and watch your course or work through your material, read through your material. I want you to actually go through it as someone on the receiving end. Because, and I've done this many times, where I've created a course and I've, put so much work into it, but then for whatever reason, I still have the belief on the other side that it's not that good. And then sometimes I just have to go back and rewatch it to be like, oh my God, this is amazing. No, this is actually really good. Look at all this value that people get. Look at all of the tidbits of information here. And I think that's an important reminder too, is that you don't have to give somebody everything under the kitchen sink in order for, is it everything and the kitchen sink or under the kitchen sink? I said under, and then I was like, that doesn't sound right. Anyways, you know what I mean. You don't have to give somebody absolutely everything in order for them to have a real result or a real outcome. Oh no, my camera.
And we're back.
For some reason, my webcam is just going to pause this recording once up suddenly, and I'll just turn it off, which is super annoying. But anyways, as I was saying, so, the people that are, remember that, like, the people that are taking your program or like purchasing your thing, you only need to know 10% more, in the words of Amy Porterfield, 10% more than someone in order to teach them something. And you, my friend, my fellow dietitian, know a lot more than that. And so you're already giving people value by just showing up and giving them information. So remember that, have that in the back of your mind. The other thing that I want you to do is actually compile all of the testimonials that you've ever received. So for me, I have a few different ways I do this. I have a folder on my desktop that is titled Warm Fuzzies. And whenever we get positive feedback, testimonials, whatever, I take a screenshot of it and I put it in that folder. And I also have a folder on my emails in my email inbox called Warm Fuzzies, and I will drag and drop positive emails in there and like take some time and read through those testimonials, those positive things, because that can be a really great way to remind yourself that you're actually doing amazing work. And, also you can always get additional feedback too from other business owners. Like, I think that that's something that's really underrated, but so helpful and important is, oftentimes I have two really great business friends who don't work in the same space as me, but they have similar businesses. So we get each other, and I will often ask them for like a second opinion to be like, is this good? Like, do you think this is good? Is this valuable? What would you charge for this? Because a lot of times it will take somebody else to be like, you should charge more than what you're charging, or this is like incredibly valuable. I think that having somebody in the business space is helpful because they may, not always, but may be more honest with you than someone who is not in that space. And they might just be like, oh yeah, this looks really cool, instead of really understanding what you could create or what the potential is. So a couple things for you to do if you find yourself in this space. Ultimately, just remembering that we have to just make a decision. We have to move forward and detach yourself from the outcome too. Like, if something doesn't work as you were expecting it to work, that is simply data. It is simply data. It's not a reflection on you or the value that you bring to the world. It's data that what you did just didn't really resonate, or maybe it does resonate and maybe your audience just isn't big enough. So that then becomes the question of, okay, how do we problem solve for this versus needing to get it right at the beginning, because that's hard to do. Like, we all go through this journey of iterations and figuring out what's going to work. Okay. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that episode. That was a fun one to record. They're always fun ones to record. I love recording this podcast. We're on episode 242 now, which is kind of wild that it's been 242 episodes. If you feel inclined, I would so appreciate you leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's always incredibly helpful because it allows this podcast to be seen by more people. So would so appreciate that if you've been a regular listener or if you've gotten value out of these episodes. And I hope you have an awesome week. I hope to see you at the summit. Tickets are still on sale. We are on our last few entrepreneurship tickets. So those, I think I can pretty much guarantee they will sell out before early bird deadline ends, which is July 10th. And so if you've been thinking about coming for entrepreneurship, you're going to want to purchase your ticket now. But otherwise, I hope to see you at the summit in September. The link for the summit, if you're like, what is that, is in the description of this episode, is our live event happening in Toronto in September of this year. Okay, have an awesome week, and I'll see you in the next episode.